Hey everybody, Grim Grain from grimgrain.com back here today. Now I covered this in my Taking the Next Vaping Step Volume 3 video, but I wanted to cover it again really quickly. Now this is my simple and effective build that I use in basically every rebuildable dripping atomizer that exists. It just fits the way that I vape so well. It's quick, it's easy, it's effective, and it's really easy to build as well. Now, there's a mountain of rebuildable atomizers out there, but I don't want to say that they're all basically the same, but they're all based around the same premise. You have positive connections and then you have negative connections. This atomizer happens to have 2 positive holes and 2 negative holes, and this positive one leads right down to there, and the negative ones are grounded out on the body of the atomizer. So what you need to do is you need to build 2 coils. One coil going from here, from a negative to a positive, and then another coil on the other side going from a negative to a positive. And that's how they coil, and that's how they heat up. So this is how I do it. Super easy, super effective, really, really good performance. What I'm going to shoot for is right around 0.2 ohms. I'm finding on a mech mod, even on a single 18650 mech mod, that 0.2 ohms is a nice vape. It's warm, but it's not too hot, and you get very, very nice vapor production. So everything that you'll need is an atomizer base, obviously the rest of the atomizer. You're going to need a screwdriver, and I wrap my coils around this screwdriver, or there are also tools out there like this, and you can find these on Amazon. These show you the width going up of the different widths that you can wrap. So starting at the very, very tip is 1.5, the next one up is 2 millimeters, the next one up is 2.5 millimeters, the next one up is 3 millimeters, and then the next one up from that is 3.5 millimeters. Now, I don't really enjoy using these just because I use my screwdriver as a tool to actually help position the coils in the deck, and I find that I can't really do that with this particular thing. But it is very, very handy if you're trying to decide how big you want your coils. So why does that even matter? Well, the bigger gauge, so if I wrap 5 wraps around this 3.5 millimeter post right here, it's going to have a different resistance than if I do 3 wraps around this 2 millimeter diameter post right here. The bigger the diameter, the higher the ohms. The lower the diameter, the lower the ohms. Additionally, the more wraps you put around, the higher the ohms, and the less wraps you put around, the lower the ohms. Does that make any sense? We'll get into it in a second. Additionally, you're also going to need some wire clippers. These I found work truly the best, and of course I got a green handle, but you can purchase these on Amazon.com as well, and this is for clipping your leads. A secondary screwdriver is always very, very important. I'm using this screwdriver to position my coils on the base. I'm going to need another screwdriver to screw and unscrew the screws in the posts. Some sort of tweezers. These are normal tweezers. These are ceramic tipped tweezers. The luxury that ceramic tipped tweezers gives you is the ability to pinch and manipulate your coil while you're firing it, and it won't short out because they're ceramic. If you try to do that with regular tweezers or with something like this, then yeah, they're going to it's going to short out and you're going to mess up your coil. So ceramic tweezers are kind of the way to go. These came from my vape kit. They're black, they're pointy, they work really, really well. Obviously, yes, you're going to need Kanthal. This is 24 gauge Kanthal. I bought this from Lightning Vapes off of Amazon.com. This right here doesn't matter. This doesn't exist. This is just a prototype thing for holding your spools, but they do have things on Amazon.com to hold your spools a little bit tighter. And like I said, I'm going to be using 24 gauge, and Kanthal ranges all over the place from 32 to 22 gauge. And again, the higher the gauge of Kanthal, the higher your resistance is going to be, and the lower the gauge of Kanthal, the lower your resistance is going to be. So if I'm going for 0.2 ohms, which is what I want, then I feel like I could do a couple wraps of 24 gauge and that will get me to where I want. A lot of this, it truly is trial and error. You're going to need some cotton for a wick. Now these are organic Japanese cotton pads, and we're going to cut them into strips, and I'll show you how we do that later. These are just what I use. I really, really like them. They seem to hold up really well and wick juice really well. These also can be purchased on Amazon.com, and I'll post links in the description to where you can pick up all of your rebuilding supplies. Second to last, you're going to need something like this to check the ohms of what you have built. How else are you going to know what ohm you ended up with if you don't have a way to check it? And then obviously, you're going to need a mod of some sort to fire your coils, to pinch them, to dry fire them, to get them into place so there's no hot spots, no burning, no nothing like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my atomizer to my mod. And what I'm going to do right now is just take out the batteries of this mod, at least all of the batteries, so that you don't accidentally fire the mod while you're fiddling with your coils. It might be really accidentally easy to press that button, burn your fingers, burn your cotton. That's not what you want to happen. So now this is kind of a nice little base to build your coils on. So I'm going to pull out some Kanthal here. You don't need a whole hell of a lot. A little goes a long way. I'm going to pull out kind of enough to build some nice dual coils. I don't know, what's that, about, I don't know, 9 or 10 inches. Once you start building and getting the hang of it more and more, you'll be able to gauge how much cotton or how much Kanthal you actually need. In the beginning, you might end up being a little bit wasteful. It could just, so you have, it's better to have too much than not enough. You want more than you need. If you're going to err on the side of caution, as always. But that's the Kanthal I'm going to use right there. And then I'm going to grab my screwdriver, and this is just the easiest way I've found to wrap coils. I just capture the wire with my fingernail right there, and I hold it firmly against the butt, against the head here of the screwdriver. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this away from myself, and every time is a wrap. So this already is one wrap. So if I hold this up like this, that's 1. Then this, that's 2. Then this, that's 3. Then this, that's 4. Then this, that's 5. Then this, that's 6. Then this, that's 7. So I got 7 wraps on there. And right now, yeah, the coil doesn't look amazing. It's not all nice and compressed together just yet. We'll worry about that when we get it actually on the mod. One thing that you can do right now, if you want to get your coils a little bit more compressed together, is grab one side with your pliers. And this is why I like using pliers. Just pull on it. Just pull on this and guide the other side through, and you can compact them down just a little bit. Just maybe a little bit of an improvement on there. So then what you're going to do is leave yourself some leads on the end. I'm going to clip that off just like that, and then I'm going to clip this one off just a little bit longer than the other one, but just a little bit longer. So that's 7 wraps of 24 gauge Kanthal. And what I want to do is I want to make a duplicate of this exact coil. So as you can see, since I was able to wrap that one off of camera, it actually ended up a little bit nicer, a little bit more uniform, a little bit more compact. But even if you wrap your coil and it looks like this one, like this first one that we did, we can fix that. It's easy to put it on there, to fiddle with it, to get it all nice and fancy and compact just like that. So the next step is to attach these to your atomizer. So obviously the first thing that you want to do is take your screwdriver and unscrew all of these so that those holes are nice and open. You don't want your screw poking down and getting in the way, and you don't want to take these screws all the way out. Just unscrew them enough, just like that, so that all the holes of all of your atomizer posts are wide open. Now we're going to take that first slightly janky looking coil that we did, and we're just going to put it on here and fit it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this hole right here, this hole right here, and I'm going to go to this hole right here. I'm not going to go to this one. I'm going to go to this one over here, just because I know it's going to be a bit easier. Just like that. See how I put that in there? Just like that. Just like that. You can kind of position it into place, get it where you need it. You might need your pliers again to pull the leads a little bit, just to position it. Just like that. You want it close but not touching. And this is when I was talking about using the screwdriver as a tool. I use it to kind of like press this into place. Press it where it needs to go. You can use this part of the screwdriver to kind of move and manipulate and press your coils into place. So I'm going to put that right there. That looks really good to me right there. Just right there. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to screw down this most negative lead over here. And I apologize, my finger's in the way, but I'm holding my coil in place. And what you want to do is screw it down and get it tight, but not so tight that it could possibly clip your coil lead. So I'm going to pull this out of here. If you screw this down too tight sometimes, your screw can come down and actually clip your coil right there. And that's bad. That's what you don't want to happen. Let me get this back in here. I'm going to position it just like that. That's damn near perfect, exactly where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this positive lead down as well. Remember, get it tight, but not too tight. And now you can use this to kind of compress your coils. Ooh, just a little bit. Maybe put it in on the other side. Press, press, press. Compress your coils down just a little bit. The coil's looking better by the minute. So now what we want to do is we want to take the flat end of our clippers right there, hold it, press it close against here, cut off our leads. Just like that. So now we have our leads clipped and we have one first coil installed. Congratulations, you did it. So just like the previous one, you're going to want to put your second one in as well. Maybe use your pliers again to pull the leads through, pull it into place, get it to where you need it to go. Just like that. We're going to use the screwdriver to push it over just a little bit. That right there looks exactly where I want my coil to be. So I'm just going to kind of put my finger over it right here, hold it in place, and this is why you don't have batteries, because if your screwdriver's here and your finger's over it and you hit that button by accident, oh baby, it's going to burn you, it's going to short out, it's going to fuck up your coils royally. So I'm just going to hold this in place with my finger. I'm going to screw this down. Screw the negative lead down. It's in place right there, and now you have this lead as well. So what you want to do, get it positioned. See how that's right there? Yeah, let's screw this down as well. So then what you have to do is you have to get in there. Again, this is why I like using the flat side of the clippers. You get in there behind the other coil, just like that. Snip your lead off. So now we have two coils. This one's very compressed. This one's sort of open. But what we can do now is put our batteries back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to pulse it. Just going to quickly press the button. See a little bit of smoke happening. Quickly press the button. We're just going to pulse it. You see all those hot spots happening right there? And then this one's not even really heating up, and now it is a little bit. They don't look perfect right away. It does take a lot of fiddling to get them to where you need to be. So we're looking at that. Just going to heat this up. I'm going to pinch this with my ceramic tweezers, and I'm going to kind of twist it a little bit into place. I'm going to squish it together. Squish it together while I pulse it. I get this into place. See how this one's pulsing very, very evenly now. Like these, how these are all separated right there. What we can do is just grab them, pinch them together. Give it a couple pulses while they're pinched. Pulses while they're pinched. That's what we want. That's what we want to see right there. That is beautiful. Those are some delicious, beautiful coils just right there. So we're using our ceramic tweezers. We're pinching, we're pulsing. We want them to heat up and cool down. We want them to look very, very similar when they're doing that. In fact, I'm just going to pinch this right here. I'm going to pulse it a little bit more. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Pinch. Pinch, pinch, pinch. We want them to heat up at the same rate and cool down at the same rate. Those are looking good. Those are looking like some really good coils. Now, if you're running into problems where they're not heating up evenly or not, you're getting hot spots. Right now, there's no hot spots. There's not one loop of those wraps that's heating up faster than any other. They're all heating up evenly from the middle to the outside. What you can do, take your screwdriver, right? You take your screwdriver tip and you strum. You go on the other side, and you strum. And what that does is it separates the coils, just a little bit. Do you see how there's just little tiny slight microscopic spaces in there? What that does is if they weren't glowing even before, they will be now, because now they're all super evenly spaced out. So now that we have these glowing perfectly evenly, what we're gonna do is get some cotton in there. All right, so I got my cotton, and I've been doing this so often that I can kind of eyeball how much I want to use. And I know for that screwdriver width, for a 3mm, I'm gonna cut off maybe this much right here. Just like that. And I'm gonna do that twice, actually, even though you don't really need to. So you end up with this sort of wafer tablet of cotton. So here's what I do with the wafer tablet of cotton. What I do, and not everybody does this, but here's what I do, is I peel off the outer portion of it. There's a stiff outer portion that I peel off and I discard. I do the same thing on both sides, and you want to get just that outer layer. You don't want to get any of the fluffy cotton on the inside. There's just that outer layer. I take that off and I discard it. So what I'm left with is just a fluffy sort of a wafer of cotton. And then what I do is I'm gonna roll both ends like this. So you end up with something that kind of looks like that. Kind of looks like something illicit. But that's what you kind of end up with. Something rolled on both ends. And then what I do in order to save cotton is I just cut it straight in the middle. So now you end up with two of these sort of pom-pom, cotton wafer looking things. Again, I have batteries in here and I know that. So don't dry fire your coils when there's cotton in it. But what I'm going to do is just thread this through. Thread this through the cotton, or thread this through the wick, or through the coil. You can grab it, pull it, just like that. That's all you ever need to do to wick. Same thing on this side. You go in from the opposite side. I'm gonna roll this up just a little bit more. I'm gonna put it through just like that. See how this is going? It's going great. Pull, pull, pull. That's it. You're done. And what you can take your scissors and do if you really want is just cut these even, just like that. And now you have a wick inside of your cotton, inside of your coils. So what you want to do is take your tweezers, and I just do the same thing on every side. I grab it, I flip it upside down, and I stick it down into the juice well. Just like that. I grab this, I flip it upside down, I stick it into the juice well, just like that. And what you want to do, and I'll show you on both sides, grab it, flip it upside down, stick it in the juice well. Grab it, flip it upside down, stick it in the juice well. And that's what you end up with. Now this is completely wicked right now. And what you want to do is leave some space here. Okay, I'm going to try not to do this upside down. Leave some space here for airflow. Do you see how you can kind of see the bottom of the deck right there? Leave some space on both sides for airflow as well as juice. So when you drip a bunch of juice in here, it's going to kind of puddle up on the bottom, but it's going to get absorbed by the cotton and then travel up to your coils where it needs to be. So the last thing you're going to need is juice. So I'm going to take some juice and I'm going to get it out of the bottle. I'm just going to use the dripper here and we're going to paint. We're just going to put some juice all over this cotton. And you can be generous because this cotton will soak up. This cotton soaks up a lot of juice. Paint, 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 paint. You want to stick it under there, give it a good squeeze, stick it under there, give it a good squeeze. In fact, I'm going to need some more juice. That was a whole, tube full of juice. Juice, juice, juice. Just make sure all your cotton is nice and soaked, nice and saturated. That's what you're going after. You want to get any stray hairs off of there as well, so that when you're pushing down your top cap, it's not going to F anything up. So we got this. We're good to go. We have coils, we have wicks, we have juice, and when I press the button, that's right, you see those vapors happening? So One thing you're saying to yourself is, Nick, we didn't check the ohms on this. And you know what? You're right. We didn't check the ohms on this. But we're going to do that right now. In fact, you would probably do this before you add the juice. The step that you would want to take is add the cotton. Make sure all your coils are glowing evenly. Once Kanthal and a lot of these wires get hot, they'll expand quite a bit. And the ohms will go up and down. But what did we end up with? Yep, 0.3 ohms. I was shooting for 0.2. I think if I would have done 6 wraps on each side rather than 7, would have ended up at 0.2. But 0.3 ohms is a great place to be. So I'm going to take this back off. I'm going to put this back on my mod. And you should always have a rag handy for juice and stuff like that. So yeah, it's juiced, it's wicked. When we press the button, we get vapors. So what's crucial, and this is a weird atomizer to show this on, but you have airflow holes. You have airflow holes in your atomizer. And what you want to do is find your coil and line up your airflow holes directly with your coil. So when I put this on there and I look down from the top, I can see that those airflow holes are pointed directly at the coil. That's why we leave some space underneath. We don't pack it full of cotton. And then when you put your top cap on, done, just like that. And now you have a fully built rebuildable atomizer that's going to produce just a whole mess of vapor for you. So real quick, I just want to show you some vapor production on this during the closing credits. But yeah, that's my super simple, super easy, super effective way to build coils. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, let's keep on vaping.